Hey guys, Jansen here from Sans Minds Magic. Thank you for supporting us in getting this project. Capsule is a collection of effects by our good friend Deepak Mishra all the way from India. As you've probably seen from the trailer, Capsule is a series of effects that actually allows you to perform visual miracles with your own hat. If you're already wearing hats, that's great. It'll feel that much more organic and natural when you're performing. It leaves plenty of room for presentational ideas, but I'll be teaching you just a few to get you started. I know you're going to love these effects, and you're going to be carrying it on you whenever you wear a hat out. With all that said, let's take a look. So as you can see, I have a regular deck of playing cards here, right? All the cards are different. I'm going to riffle through the deck, and whenever you want me to say stop, just say stop.
Stop.
Stop right there. So take out one card, and I want you to use your imagination, okay? I want you to really picture this inside your head. So go back to your childhood and, embrace that imagination, okay? So I'm going to lose this card back into the deck, like so, but you're still actually able to, visualize your card, correct? So if I were to actually take another card, let's say this card, right? Obviously this isn't your card, is it? Right? But if you were to use your imagination, you can actually pretend that this is your card. So in order for me to see into your mind and what you're actually seeing, I need to look through a window. And luckily my hat has a window. And this is the window into your mind. I want you to really use your imagination and visualize your card on here. You see it? Watch. 1, 2, 3. Just like that, your card changes into the Jack. Here's a few things that you're going to need. You're going to need 3 cards that are the same. In this case, I'm using the Jack of Hearts, a pair of scissors, and some packing tape. If you don't have packing tape, you can also use duct tape as well. So grab your tape and cut off about 2 to 3 inches. And it doesn't really matter what color tape you're using, because what's going to happen is the tape's going to be on the inside of your hat, and the spectator is never going to see it. So take your card, and you're going to apply the tape along the long edge of the card. About half the tape will be on the card, like so. So next you're going to want to take your card with the tape on it, and you're going to want to measure on the back of your hat. Make sure your hat has a window like so snapbacks or strapbacks will work. And lay the card so that the pips are showing. And obviously, depending on your hat, you'll have either more or less. Just play around until you feel what's right. Once you have it lined up, you can start applying some pressure to your tape so that it sticks to the inside. And now you should have a card that is free hanging like so. If you feel like your card's a little bit too stiff, you can actually just pull back the tape a little bit and apply some cellophane or powder. That way it'll allow the card to move a little bit more freely and not as stiffly. So like I said, frame it so it's most comfortable for you and you're showing as much of the card as possible. So when you're applying your card and you're trying to figure out how you want to frame it, every hat obviously has different widths, and the window size will vary as well. So mine's a little bit smaller here, so I have my card hanging out a bit below. If your window is slightly bigger, you might be able to get away with raising the card and having the pip pop out of the window instead. Now you guys have your gimmick assembled. So let's get into the basic working. So to put on your hat and reset the gimmick, all you need to do is make sure this flap is folded up, and to make sure it doesn't fall down as you're putting it on, all you need to do is pinch the corner as you're putting on the hat. So now I have my hat on, I'm ready to perform at a moment's notice. So to execute the gimmick, all you need to do is just turn your hat to show the window, and if you just raise your hat and drop it back down, the change has happened. So again, to execute the gimmick, all you need to do is lift your hat, and what's happening is the card, because of gravity, is falling down into place, and all you need to do is put your hat back on, and there you go. The effect has happened. So in real time, the change looks like this. So now that you know the basic working and how to assemble your gimmick, let's get into the explanation of the flick change. So before we get into the explanation of the flick change, we're going to have to do a bit of prep beforehand. So remember those 2 extra Jack of Hearts that we had? So with your 2 jacks, take one of them, and you're going to place one of the jacks on top of your deck. Where you place your other jack is going to depend on what hand you execute your gimmick with. If you execute the gimmick with your left hand, when you bring it down, you're going to want it closest to you. In this case, if I'm doing the execution with my left hand, I'm going to be placing the card with the back facing out, closest to myself. If I'm doing it with my right hand, still, back facing out, it's going to be closest to myself. To begin your presentation, you're going to want to force them the Jack of Hearts. You can use any force you like that you feel comfortable with, but I'll be teaching you a very simple force that you can use here. So to force them the Jack of Hearts, which is on top of the deck, what you want to do is with your thumb, riffle down the deck, and ask your spectator to say stop whenever they like. So let's say they say stop here. With your index finger and your middle finger, you're going to split the deck here and do a swing cut with your index finger over to your left hand, like so, bringing the top half of the deck to your other hand. Now with the bottom half, still holding it in a biddle-like grip, extend your ring finger, and you're going to push out this card, which is the top card that was there originally. You can pull it out and ask them to take it, and ask them to memorize the Jack of Hearts that you forced. So because you're riffling through the deck, and you're asking the spectator to say stop whenever they like, you're actually giving them the illusion that they're getting a free choice in the deck. But what's actually happening is you're actually handing out the card that we set up previously, which is the Jack of Hearts. So once you have the card pushed out, you can actually ask the spectator to take it and ask them to memorize that card. Once they have it memorized, you can take the card back and place it into the deck wherever you want, and losing it into the deck. You can even shuffle it if you want. So once the card is lost, you can say something along the lines of, "I've magically brought your card back to the top of the deck." Whenever you turn over the top card, showing the spectator, to their amazement, that's not actually their card. So take the wrong card, and you get ready to perform the flick change. So when you bring your card up, before we can do the flick change, you need to know how to throw the card straight up. If you have a preferred method of how to throw a card, you're welcome to use that, but I'll teach you a very simple method that I use in order to throw a card. So to perform the throwing action of the card, pinch the corner, depending on which hand you're using, I'm using my right hand, on the right side of the card, like so, just slightly above the bottom corner. Now with your middle finger, you're actually going to do a flicking motion, like that. And what's going to happen is when you flick the corner of the card, it's going to rotate. So if you flick it with a slightly loose but firm grip, it'll actually just fly in the air like that. So with a bit of practice, you'll be able to throw the card straight up, consistently, like so. So once you have your throwing technique down, you're going to want to get your gimmick execution down as well. What you want to practice is lifting your hat at a 45-degree angle, letting the card fall, and putting it back on. Because what's going to be happening is when you execute your gimmick, you're going to need enough room to catch the card that's flying up as you put your hat back on. So once you get this motion down, we can get into the change. So I can't exactly show you guys how to do this change slowly, but this is generally what the change should look like. So to sell the illusion of the change, to make it look a little bit more impressive, start with the card down about your solar plex area, and as you're going to throw the card with the flick, just bring the card up a few inches as you're flicking, and it'll sell the illusion that you're actually throwing it further than you actually are. So once you perform the change, you want to remove your hat, carefully not revealing the contents of the inside of your hat. So when you bring it out, keep the hat facing towards yourself. As you bring your hat out, carefully not showing the contents of the inside, you're going to take your two fingers, and you're going to stick your fingers inside, grabbing the prepared card in the side of your hat, and pulling it out the same window that you did the change in, selling the idea that the card that you changed is coming from the same spot. So once you've pulled the card out of the window, you've done two things. One, you've pulled out the card that you're going to hand out to them, and two, you've actually reset the gimmick on the inside. So now what you can do as a nice subtlety is if you show them the window from this angle, slightly angle towards yourself, they can see that the inside of the hat is now empty. Once you've shown them that it's empty, now put your hat back on and hand out their card. So now you can put your hat back on. All you need to do is, if you do it with a slight, small swinging motion, the gimmick will stay reset, and the centrifugal force of raising your hand will keep the card that you caught inside your hat. Now you're left clean. And that's it, guys. That's the flick change. I know you're going to have a lot of fun with it. I've had a lot of fun with it. I carry it on all the time. It's self-contained and always on me when I wear a hat. So go out and perform.